Velma on HBO Max is a nightmare. It is far worse than I could have imagined. I don't know how they did it, but HBO managed to make a show more insufferable than Santa Inc. from last year. I don't feel bad ragging on this show because, number one, I pay for HBO Max and I have a right to warn customers of the products they consider buying. But it is also clear that the writers and producers want me to rag on it because the only way anyone is going to see this show is if they drum up enough controversy to trick people into hate watching it. Velma is an origin story and a reimagining of the beloved Scooby-Doo animated series. It's a reimagining in the sense that it bears no resemblance to the Scooby-Doo series other than there are three characters named Velma, Daphne, and Fred. I'm the 1,000,000th person to point this out, but it's clear that most reboots today are made by people who hate the source material, but they need to steal an IP with a built-in fan base to get their personal stories out in the world. Instead of someone going to a studio and saying, "Oh, I got this great idea for a reimagining of Scooby-Doo," they say, "I want to write a story about how horrible high school was for me. What characters could I possibly co-opt to make that happen?" There is no love or respect shown here for the Scooby-Doo series. Instead, it is hateful, crude, and painfully unfunny. I have seen 4 episodes thus far, and the basic storyline is that there is a serial killer killing the popular girls at Velma's high school, and Velma starts off as a suspect. She tries to clear her name by finding out who the real killer is, while also solving the mystery of the disappearance of her mother. We also get a lot of time dedicated to ex-best friends Daphne and Velma trying to deal with their feelings for each other. My dead box turtle buried in the backyard is funnier than this show. Velma doesn't want to make you laugh. Instead, it wants to lecture you on why you are a bad person. I chuckled once and briefly smiled another time. There was one clever gag, where Daphne blackmails Velma into helping her sell drugs. Velma asks what kind of drugs she's selling, and Daphne says, "Oh, just the usual. Zoinks, Jeepers, Mystery Machine." That is funny. It's adult content that makes a clever reference to the original series. If Velma was filled with that kind of humor, it would be a great show. But it is not. The moral of this show is that rich people, attractive people, and white people are bad and deserve to be ridiculed. At least 5 times per episode, Velma needs to call someone out for being a rich white male. "If I was a rich white male, I would be killing white people and getting away with it all the time." Isn't it nice to see a white guy get falsely convicted for once? "How are a bunch of middle-aged white men going to determine who is the hottest? You're just a white girl with too much money." We also get lectures about the patriarchy. I want to iterate. We don't get jokes about the patriarchy. We don't get jokes about straight white males. We get told that they are bad. The PE teacher is teaching the female students self-defense, and Velma says, "Why aren't we instead teaching men not to kill women?" And the PE teacher says, "Because I only have $50 in the budget to overthrow 10,000 years of toxic masculinity." That was supposed to be funny. When they aren't lecturing you about the patriarchy and white privilege, they are trying to get cheap laughs through excessive violence and crudeness. People's limbs are being hacked off in high school like it's just a normal part of the day. High schoolers are running around naked and they're doing drugs. The juxtaposition of a classic children's show with adult entertainment is supposed to shock the viewer into laughter, but the thing is, it's been done so much that there isn't any shock value anymore. Most of the people from my generation who watched The Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park, American Dad, Robot Chicken, etc. are used to seeing cute animated characters swear and be violent, and it's just not funny anymore. The subplots are terribly uninteresting. We have the main storyline of there being a serial killer, but in between all of that we have subplots of Velma and Daphne having to sell drugs to earn money, Velma and Daphne competing against each other in a female self-defense competition, Velma having to come up with a list of the 5 hottest girls in school so they can get a police escort, Neville trying to earn $500 to impress Velma. At no point does any of this feel like Scooby-Doo. They could have kept the script the same and switched the characters out with characters from any other cartoon and it would have fit just fine. They could have taken something like Space Ghost or Speed Racer and just switched the script and it would have been the exact same thing. I've already wasted too much time on this. Don't watch it. I certainly won't be finishing the series.